Okay.
Is that started?
I reckon. Hi everyone. Welcome. So I couldn't come up with any kind of entertaining title, so it's always stupid, but the talk itself should be much more better. I promise. There's like 120 slides of this. And I'll try not to be boring. So yeah, I'm going to talk about open source. Yeah, I do a lot of open source every day. So, oh, come on. This is the worst.
That should be changed.
This should have never happened when you're in the presentation mode. So, what I'm going to talk today about is like 5 different parts. The first one, what is open source about? Like, there is some confusion sometimes. So then I'm going to talk about my personal journey, because it's all about my personal journey. Then why I'm doing that, why it's cool, why it's not cool, maybe it's not cool. Then it's more practical things, or what you do. Right? There is heaps of open source around it, what you do. That's what I'm about. And a little bit of what not to do. Open source. So yeah, what's open source about? It's kind of like there is this perception that open source is just free software, but it's not just free software. Because a lot of open source software is not free. So you can license, you can actually pay for it, but you can see. So it's not like free, but it's a software where you can actually read the source code. So it's completely available to you, so you can see everything, what it does. It's nothing hidden. Just in case, I really encourage you to like stop me, ask questions, and make it more like a dialogue, so rather than just me talking about crazy stuff and things. So yeah. So yeah, you can read it and maybe modify it, because there are some really open licenses that allow you to like read code and everything, but do not allow you to modify it, because there are some funky licenses actually, like saying you can read it's all awesome, like, but if you're a military, you can't use the software, things like that. It's all about licensing and all that stuff. It's really big talk. It's not part of this. So yeah, why we really need it? Like, okay, there is a software. It does something. It works somewhere. Why do we really need to open the source and let everyone read it? And despite of like, I decided not to talk about some kind of obvious things that like sharing, idealistic things. It's all good, like things like that. You need to share and you need to do good things, and it's all good. But I want to focus on a little bit different things. So you probably know about the Volkswagen scandal that happened quite recently, and just to people who don't know, so they made some really tiny tweak in their software, and if they put their car in lab, it gives them pretty perfect results. Everything is fine, but when it goes on the road, on the highway, they remove all protection and give you much more power, but then increase all these emissions. It's a big thing. CEO resigned. It's like huge. So it wouldn't happen if the code is publicly available, because you can audit and check it and see all that creepy stuff. And on the first place, you wouldn't actually put this creepy stuff in your code because you know it's available. So you can't do it. So there is kind of a discussion right now happening in, like, there are lots of articles saying, yeah, we probably need to sort of enforce open source in some different areas, because like, who's going to be next? Like, there isn't a thing that people actually hack the car and can do it. And before they could do it like having some real wires, but now you can do it through the internet. It's possible. There are people who actually investigate that. There is an article, you can read it, it's pretty awesome. Then you have like self-driving cars. I don't know, I don't really control it, and someone else can control it, and I mean, it's just all software. Then it comes to voting systems, like, who knows if it works today, but it passes all tests, everything is perfect, but on the day of a vote, it actually gives you a little bit different result. How when you test it, like how all these things are going to work. Yeah, you could probably find a solution, but anyway. And like, super rhetoric question, can you trust corporations? Yeah, I should put some picture here. So, yeah, hopefully I gave some idea why it's kind of important in terms of like global software and global things. If you have any questions.
So far.
So far, so good. So, what's my journey in the open source? So, who I am? I'm an engineer. I was working, I don't know, I was sysadmin since probably 2000, and then like 6 years I decided that, yeah, sysadmin is quite boring. You set up everything, it all works. So I decided to go full-time programming. I did some programming before, but then went full-time. I was doing basically JavaScript, PHP, and all this stuff since 2006. Yeah, that was pretty fun. I used to say, like, I did JavaScript before jQuery was released. So now I work in Ava Networks. We recently got some great t-shirts. I like to think that this line is like made of weeds. So yeah, how can I, like, I did a lot of work. I worked for years. I worked for a company and we did some stuff. And you obviously invent a lot of cool things, like absolutely amazing things, which are completely buried in your project. Like nobody knows about them. So when you invent something absolutely amazing, like I don't know, I wrote my own AMD implementation, like YGS, 3 years before YGS even released, and we used it for many years, but nobody knows about it because like we never share anything. Just drop a line for some projects and something. And right now you can't even find those projects because they're all gone. It's like in a void. It's really old thing. At some point I realized that yeah, I do cool stuff. I really want to share with people because there are like heaps of new ideas. A lot of people, I can save hours and hundreds of hours to other people. So yeah, that got like completely empty profile. Like, yeah, no one. So I decided like something it should start, and it started from like this thing that probably every developer has, like absolutely abstract stuff that says lead. It's like very useful. It feels nobody cares about it. Then it was some occasion that in my company we got migration to Node.js, so I was able to actually build some libraries, and I convinced the company to like open source basic library things. So I was able to actually develop them at home and at work. It was pretty good. So released a couple of things. We use them pretty heavily, but it's all cool. They're really cool. But then you know, like time passes and it's all bad. Like really, nobody gives a shit because nobody knows about it. And also, the other thing is, even if you like talk about it, I'll come to this later. So how you kind of say and tell people, yeah, this is a good thing. You should use it because it's awesome. You actually do talks. You go to different conferences and meetups and present your stuff, saying it's good. It's pretty cool. So it's like in order. My first one was PHP, Ninjas, CGS, MJS. So cool. And also, when you do talks, you realize that, yeah, it's all good code, but you probably want to talk about something easier, so you actually write more code, so you get talks also in code. It's kind of just going in a circle. So you want to make some code that you want to show, and it's obviously should be open source code. And then one CGS, Jed mentioned, you probably know Jed, like he mentioned his streak on GitHub. Yeah, like, I mean, that's a pretty impressive thing. And yeah, it's kind of like, it sounds pretty cool. But it wasn't like that, like, oh, he's cool, like, I should be cool as well. But it was kind of a pragmatic decision. And what I mean, it's like, you keep this straight. And the reason for that is quite laziness. It's like you do all your job, you come home, and then you say, yeah, I want to do something, and then like, oh, maybe not, and I'm like tired, and probably just get a couple of beers and just play some games and stuff, and then it's 11 p.m. Go sleep, and then you kind of like skip day to day to day, but then that thing keeps you in, I don't know, in some condition that you're kind of obliged to keep it, because you need to commit something, you need to do something. And the funny thing is sometimes like you don't have too much time to just do some really stupid thing like a data dependencies. That's really saving stuff. But then you do have data dependencies, but then you realize, oh yeah, this is a really nice thing I want to do, and you actually do it right now, and you kind of go into that. It's really a big problem to start, but then when you go into that, and you just start developing something. So you actually can spend like another 2 hours hacking something, pushing things. You didn't really want to do that, but you did it only because you want to keep it straight. And then it went to the whole bunch of new stuff there. And this is really powerful thing. So, I mean, it kind of worked for me. So, yeah, it's not as crazy, but I mean, it's good. It's almost half a year. I mean, yes, every day I mean something. So, yeah, that worked for me. I probably did too much. Like, I probably told too much about myself, but yeah, hopefully it wasn't too much. So, why would you actually participate? Like, what's the reason for you personally? Okay, there are some people, maybe like crazy nerds, who's like weird like that, and I don't know, we can do something every day, they don't have any private life. Why you? So, why would you do that? And what's your reward? It's definitely not like that. Not cookies or something. So and it's obviously like really subjective. So I've tried to tell some things that motivate me, and probably most of those things will motivate you. I don't know. It's really a personal decision. Why would you do that? So I actually like the order of these things. I'm not sure that's like exactly the right order in matter of importance, but I don't know, this is probably the best thing. So you can actually learn. You learn, and you learn everything. You learn from all these different people, with different backgrounds, with different skills, with different skill levels, with different experience. I don't know, it's amazing. So you get this experience. It's another thing. So you work day to day, you do something, you do your projects, but then how do you know, like, you work all full time with Angular, but how do you know that React is good? Like, you don't use it on your workplace unless you actually go after work and do something. But then to go something and to do after work is pretty boring. But then when it comes to community and it comes to other people, when you see that they do something and you kind of say, oh, I'll fix this issue or something, and then you actually start doing that thing, and it kind of you make promises and do them, and it pushes you to get this experience, new experience that you would never get in your workplace. So, like, experience was really unusual for me. It's like something completely unconventional, something that maybe 10 people use in this world. It may not be really productive or really important for a day-to-day job, but it's awesome to try it, to get like a different point of view on something that you would never use otherwise. And it's all because of people, because other people do that. You also get some interesting practices, like how you test things, how you do like unit testing or integration testing, or how you do build things. And all these different people, they have different processes, and everyone does it in a different way. And if you lock down to some particular way, you kind of miss the whole field of opportunities. Obviously, you make connections, so you talk to other people, and it's quite often that you talk to like super famous people. I don't know, like everyone knows them in the world, and They reply to you and they say like, oh man, it's good, something, it's really awesome. And obviously you have collaboration with all these people, you talk to them, you fix something, they review your code and they say, yeah, that's good, or no, it should be fixed or something. You work together with other people. Again, it's connected to your current job, so you have a job, you have your team, you have a bunch of people that you, I don't know, go drink beer after work and things like that. You know them, you know how they work, but then you have no idea how other people work, how other teams deal with different things. It's really difficult. So when you change different teams, you switch jobs, and you go to another company, they may have a completely different culture. It may be a shock. It's really a shocking experience after you work like 3 years and then you go to another one. It's crazy. It could be like you can get really strong depression for some reason, like for different reasons. But this thing, you actually collaborate with different people, with basically thousands of different teams. You get yourself really good resistance for this thing, so you can switch to another job, and you will be like, okay, it's okay. I did this kind of stuff. So yeah, it's like you get collaboration, people recommend. The other part is quite important too. So there are lots of people with good CVs, with good experience in something, but there are not so many people with really good code to show. So having lots of different repositories to contribute to, lots of personal projects and other things make you stand out. Like a lot of companies may not be applied for recruitment companies, but there are some recruitment companies that do technical analysis, but mostly they really don't. And when it comes to real company, a lot of developers actually want to see your code. How you code, what's your decision, why you did these things. They want to see your code. It's much better. So you can actually stand out. And it's, like that kind of stuff. And obviously, having all these things, you can eventually get some better job, like it's pretty cool stuff. And most importantly, just actually have fun, because it's not work. You don't do it for a living. You try to achieve something, you try to get experience and all this stuff, but you also want to have some fun. And there are some things like, Volkswagen, because we can make your old test pass in CI server, but they won't pass in development. And like this thing, you raise promises into callbacks and call it habit. Or don't use this thing. Or even like that, Vegemite color. Have fun. That's pretty cool. Also, it's like feeling of doing good things. Like you help to release a new version of a library that 1,000 people use. Probably it was maybe like little help, but not that much, but actually help. This kind of stuff. Gratitude. You get a lot of this thing. Thanks. People really appreciate it. And it's inspiring. It actually drives you doing things. It's approval by people who know how to code. You read their article, you read their book, then you come into their repositories, they acquire it, and they all good. It gives you a lot of positive feeling. Yeah, nice word. Sorry, I actually made a screenshot from myself. I decided that it will be better than I'll just talk about some abstract. It's more personal. So what you actually do, maybe it's the next section. If you have any questions.
When do you start contributing to the open source projects?
That's the next this section.
Okay.
Actually go. All right. That's pretty perfect. So what are you doing? You decided, that's pretty awesome. It's all cool. It's great, but then What's next? What I do? Like, I go to GitHub, I go to start page, and I have no idea what's absolutely. So first thing to know, like, just feel no fear. It's really important because like you're really welcome. There are heaps of people who really deserve your. They really want your contributions. They want you to participate. They don't know you, but they still want it. It's even like, um, you know, there are lots of projects that didn't have that many stars, and like, hey, I published a product. It's pretty cool, but yeah, have no stars, no works, nothing, and you just go there and you actually do something for that project. It's amazing feeling for the person who made this project. So even just for that, just go and contribute because you make someone really happy. So it's awesome, like, yeah, but what you can actually do. And it's not only about coding. It's like it doesn't mean that you should actually go find some issue and fix something or add some functionality to the library. It's yeah, yes, it's really important, but it's not the only thing you can do. You can file an issue. So you're using a bunch of libraries. And for example, in our project right now, it's about 2,000 libraries in JavaScript. It's like all nested thing and they all depend on something. And you find something that doesn't really work that you expect, yeah, file an issue. First, make sure it's not already. So you can also, if you find the issue is there, just add your example. Add some explanation probably, add your command. It's all really good, it's really valuable. So if you have an issue with like no commands, yeah, it's pretty boring, but then you can add some more commands there. Saying, yeah, I might have the same problem, here's my environment, this is my example. It's all good. You can also go and see README, maybe quite empty, you can write something. So you use this library where you use some project and you know you have again a couple of examples, just add them to README. It's really awesome. Like every developer hates writing README, believe me, and if anyone would write README for me, yeah, like even like that. Just fix a typo. Yeah. I just want my That's really awesome. It's still valid. It's really good. You should do that. You can also like if you get more experience and you can like there is a code and it works. It's all good. But then you can improve some building process for that code. Like build JavaScript, build React application, something else like that. Use Webpack or browser file or something else. You can add linter to the code. So a lot of code is just like write things and it's all different. But you can come up with an idea, oh, we can add linter and improve this code and make it more consistent. Well, someone wouldn't probably like it, but it depends on people. So yeah, you can also fix some style issues, like maybe some extra comments or something like that. It's all there. You can do all these things. Really cool stuff. You can write tests. It's amazing thing. If you use a library and you see that it definitely likes tests, so it may not have any because yeah, developers don't like to write this kind of stuff. That's important. But it's awesome because you can figure out how code works. You can completely like disassemble this whole library and learn how it works. Writing tests. It is awesome ability. So yeah, get some 100% coverage or something. Yeah, and after all, you can always fix the bug. Like, there are heaps of issues, like hundreds of issues. And why it's not resolved? You probably didn't pull it up. So yeah, that's really a valid point. Like, this is open source. That's the thing. If something doesn't work, someone said like, yeah, it's your personal fault. So the other thing is finding a project. I can answer some questions if you wish.
What was the first thing that you contributed to on OpenSource?
I think it was one thing, but by Eric Elliott, I think. I'll get to that tweet later, just in this section. That's Any more predictions? So yeah, this is really powerful thing. You use some libraries, use some projects, just follow people who write them. Because these people don't only write those projects, they write a lot of new other stuff. And that stuff might be really cool. But again, nobody knows about it unless someone reads about it or tweets about it. So just follow them. You should definitely keep an eye on what they do. Yeah, some people actually ask for help, like this one. He's building a platform to teach people JavaScript. So it's a big problem in San Francisco is house prices because of IT, and a lot of people just have to leave their houses because they can't pay for them anymore because they're not programmers. So it's kind of, he tries to solve this kind of stuff. Fight homelessness with JavaScript. And there are heaps of different projects under this thing, different like scaffolding, sample projects, I don't know, lessons and other things. Eric is, he does a lot of teaching in programming. He also does a lot of top skill talk on web directions. He will have like a really big workshop in JavaScript. And then he's a pretty cool guy. He's really awesome. He writes a lot of articles. Just this is probably the one third-party open source project I was contributing to. One of the sub projects. So yeah, it's not actually a call for help, but pretty well. Yeah, there was another thing. So that's one part. The other part is you can actually watch for some new libraries here. So there are heaps of sites that publish all these new libraries. Choose your technology. I don't know, like I'm talking more about React because I do mostly React. Yes, but choose any. There are always heaps of sites like React varied parts. Yeah, they've got things published all the time. React components. This is more like a generic, not only about React, a lot of stuff. And there are heaps of other sites. You can just go there from time to time, pick whatever is new, see if it's interesting, and yeah, just help people do things from all this previous part. Like you can fix typos, fix readmes, write tests, and all this stuff. It's really cool. And again, it comes to the that point that they made that people publish projects and they have like 0 stars, 0 forks. And they're really interesting projects, and if you actually start contributing, it actually can grow and can be much better. So keep an eye on new projects. It's a really cool thing. Yeah. Before I go to what not to do, I'm really happy to answer any questions. Not from this section.
Something that you mentioned with the homeless project.
Yes.
How did it go eventually? Did it do something?
It just works. Like it's an ongoing process. It's like a large project. There are maybe a couple of people working.
But how do they tackle the problem with homelessness? Homeless people don't even have computers. How do they?
I think I'm not quite sure exactly how it works because I'm not in San Francisco. It's hard to actually go and see. But Eric publishes a lot of articles. He makes a lot of classes, and to make those classes, he needs some actual examples, simple projects that he can do, generate some libraries and other things. Like all this infrastructure. It's really helpful. So yeah. You should actually go and read about it. It's
Actually, Eric.
Yeah, he's like you should follow him anyway. He's like all this
It's sort of making like a syllabus for them to how to learn JavaScript. Is that what they're making?
kind of yeah, but it's not only about I guess JavaScript, but he's working mostly on JavaScript. So anyway, just like a charity work or something, it's quite interesting. I thought it was fun.
I've been reading some articles recently about people's experience working on open source projects, and unfortunately, like a couple of people had really negative experiences. So very okay.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm going to talk about. Perfect.
That is an amazing
That's
ability.
really awesome, yeah. So, when you do open source, when you communicate with people, it's more about communication now. It's less about coding, because coding is basically universal. It's hard to do someone who's coding, but like when you actually talk with people, file things, write some comments. So the most universal rule is respect. So just treat other people with respect and don't judge you. So it's really simple, but sometimes sometimes things may happen. Like, what if you actually was like really bad mood and something didn't work quite well? Like I hate it. It's so bad. It's so bad. I go and file an issue and say that it's so bad. It's something like that, and the contributor was actually like really abused me. So, yeah, someone gets really upset. It's pretty bad. What to do? Like, yeah, some people will just leave and never appear again. It's like, oh, it's such a shame. It's like all the public, everyone knows. There is a fix, and you're not actually doomed forever for that fix. So you can make a mistake, obviously. You can be abusive. You can be angry. Something may happen. That happens all the time. So just simple rule. Just follow it. And I actually wanted to put this thing because not everyone actually know that this thing works. Like, yeah. Well, issues, apologies, sorry, like all this kind of stuff. You get a response. Yes, bro. Like, thanks. It's all good. I understand. It's fine. And then this guy was actually just like filing other things and discussing. It's not the end of the world. So just be a human. You also need to know that, I've read the stories too, because all these things, like, there are lots of rude communities and rude people. Yeah, people are all different. So if you work in some community that's really rude to you and it doesn't work for you, like you can't work in that kind of environment, yeah, just leave. It's the solution. You can't change other people. People are different. It's the same in open source. It's the same on your workplace. It's the same in our society. Like, everyone is different. So also what I wanted to point that there are heaps of different cultures and languages. So that's I really like this thing. So I want to I think it's really important. It kind of struck me at some point. Like, yeah, people are really different, and I've seen a lot of situations when some guy just watched an issue and it was like, I read it because I speak English, I live here, I know bad things, and then I read it and it was really rude, like extreme. Like you would never tell it someone like English speaking person. You would never tell it because it's just rude. And then I checked this person is from Russia, and I actually know him. I know he is a really good guy. He would never mean it. And the problem with that is he just goes to Google Translate and translates things to Google. He picks some words that are like, well, you shouldn't tell them, like, yeah, it may happen. So just don't really confuse like grammar and language with aggression. So never responds with aggression. So if you get something, try to figure out what's wrong. But it's all universal. It's not about source. It's just how you work with people. Try not to just like eye for an eye and things like that. Nobody wins for that. So yeah, if this person was actually angry, I'll apologize. But just let me know. So yeah, be understanding, because like you never know what's there on the other side. Like, who knows? Yeah, actually, it's pretty awesome. You should check it out. There is a second slide, which is much more work. So yeah, welcome. Yeah, that's my talk. Hopefully.
Yeah.
all the slides are there, and it's not worth that much without the talk itself, but it really puts my video in there.
I was gonna ask, sometimes like I've seen, I haven't actually done this, but people file an issue and then the guy, the contributor, or the main guy that's open the repo, he's like, oh, this is actually not really an issue, you're just not using it right. Like, you're not supposed to use it this way.
This is quite common, and I was participating in this kind of conversations, and sometimes answer actually provokes aggression, as a contributor. You get aggression as a response. The thing is, in open source, people, like it's just a free world. It's like Wild West. People do whatever they like. So this library was published by this person. He has his vision about this library. So the thing is, you do something and you know like what this library should do, and you don't want to put more stuff in because you want to keep it focused. And if you want more, you either like write another library or you fork it because you have your vision. The other thing is the reason for that response is this library may be used in maybe 10, 15, 20 different projects. So your breaking change suggestion may actually break his real production projects that nobody wants to. Or just make another version and support two versions, which we usually don't want to do. So don't treat such a response just like as being a dig or something. So there is always some reason behind it. Try to figure out what exactly the reason is. Sometimes, yes, it's completely valid. Sometimes people are just like, I know better, things like that, and they don't really want to explain. Just talk. That's how we solve problems.
I was wondering, being new to the community, is there any way to sort of figure out which projects are more likely to be a positive experience compared to others? Like, can you tell if there's a lot of outspoken people involved?
Yeah, I got it. That's really a good question. So you should actually, if you just learn and you try to figure out what you want to work on, it's similar to what you do when you go for a job. So you do some research. So you go to this person's profile, you go to issues, you check his comments, you see how he reacts to different things. This is why really important thing. So when you do a pull request or something, try to read code that's there, try to see the style, try to match that style. So don't try to put your own culture into the repo that someone did. Try to conform with that thing, try to be like part of that thing. And this is actually kind of coupled to one of those things. So you actually get different experiences. Because you go, you read how people do things, and you do those things their way, not your way. And you read much more. You actually achieve much more. You get more better experience.
Say worst case scenario, you like I pull a request from you, and then I try to add something or try to change something, and I put it back to you and it's wrong. In like the community, do people tell you, or do they just sort of like never?
Oh, they always speak. Like, not always. Yeah, people are different. People are different. Sometimes, yeah, sometimes it may happen. So you do a pull request and contributor just like the author just closes it and says, no things. But you need to remember that, like maybe he has some reason, like maybe he just simply doesn't have time to go through this thing and he thinks it's stupid from the first view and that things. Like, yeah, people are different. But I would say, so far I've never experienced that. I've seen some things like that, but personally never experienced. At least I've got some response saying, yeah, it's cool, but I want it a different way, and you just go and you update your code and try to do things author wants. It's his thing, so don't try to make his thing kind of yours. That's kind of thing. And the same thing is when you do a library, like it's applied to you. Same way.
How many people have contributed to your work?
Not too much. I'm not like a gentleman. I don't have like 1,000 stars on my records, and the best one is like 60 stars or something. So I think I've got maybe up to 10 people, other people contributing to some of the projects. It's not much. It's not the best representation. I'm on the way.
Do you mainly like pull from React, or do you mainly work in React when you contribute to OpenSource, or do you do a variety?
Oh, I mean, different things. Not like there's heaps of stuff like Node.js projects, build projects. I actually do a lot of things related to build, linked code coverage, tests, and things. But I like it. I see a paper without proper build, which doesn't check linking and other things. I like to edit. Pretty cool. Yeah, not only React, Angular stuff too. Have to. Yeah. Head a project with it. But it doesn't really matter. All the different projects. Good.
What's the most interesting project that you've worked on? Like, what's the most, interesting, I don't know,
Oh.
source? Like, what's the,
Yeah, React Motion.
why do you like
Because
it?
it's awesome. So React Motion is a library that lets you make animations in JavaScript and React in kind of a declarative way. And it was presented in July and React Europe. So I instantly loved it because it's the way I used to do animations, like script calculus, prototype.js, and other things. And I really liked that way, so I just went to the repo and started contributing. So yeah, it ended up pretty well. So I think a couple of weeks ago I got contributor status, so I actually pushed it on the trip. You gain that trust when you work, so you actually get the people actually trust you. And this project is really awesome. It solves real problems. Yeah, I wish I could show you some things. I don't know if it's appropriate. There is a beautiful presentation by Chang. So, things like this demo was from the talk itself. And it's like it's really cool thing that you can do. And it's all really declarative. So the code for this thing is 20 lines of code. So it's a really small thing. Bunch of demos. I think this one is pretty cool too. Or let me see. That's awesome. So yeah, I think this project is really awesome. It actually, like, this is not that awesome, but this thing is awesome. And it's how you do that, and like you can actually mix this animation, so you can interrupt them in any way because it's all JavaScript, so not CSS decision. And like this one, so you can actually move them in any way, and it's never broken. It's just loading pictures, so it's not. So it's really good library. I like it. Like it a big deal. Yeah, and got like a bunch of stars too, which is pretty nice. Yeah. Really nice.
Like, is it translating like README into a different language that's also that valuable in any way, or is it?
Yeah, I think so. Why not? It's pretty cool. It may not be that much useful if just like a small library, but if you have more or less popular like this library, if you translate it to Russian, that would be pretty awesome. And everyone would be really happy. Or, any other language probably. So probably translation comes when you have heaps of stars and all that popular library. It's a good idea.
I want to have a little of your code. Is there something in there which you really like? Or we should just look at your
Sorry?
some code that you've done that you really like.
Code?
Yeah.
Some code that you really like.
Yeah.
Okay, just like.
Oh, I don't know. I kind of like all the code I write. I like this child more than this one. Unless they're like too old, you know. Get out of my house. That's my legacy code. So yeah, I have heaps of repos. It's like hundreds of repos. I think. They all, some of them are like really sad. Zero stars and things like parents. Me too. You can just go there, check a recent update library. There are a bunch of we actually made it less than an hour.
I know, you did really well. Good. I'm sure all of you have seen Nick around at all the meetups that you all go to, correct?